So we're getting ready for a test tomorrow, and I want to just do a couple warm-ups, and then we're going to take this group quiz. First off, can you find and draw a triangle around negative 2 pi over 3? The first thing I'd do is make your x and y axis and the circle around it and the ASTC. You never know when that ASTC thing is going to come in handy. Now, if you don't know where this is, you're kind of toast, right? Like, you can't draw the triangle if you don't know where it is. So that's the first job, is to know where these negative and positive angles that are in radians, you know where they are. And then I'm going to squeeze in, I actually want you to find sine of that. Once you've got that angle in the right spot, and you get your triangle drawn, it's pretty easy. But do you get, I have given you the angle. That means I want sides. If I gave you the sides, then I would want the angle. But right now I gave you the angle. So I want the side ratios. All right, you're going to be working with them a lot anyway. Might as well compare with the kid next to you that I always assign you, rows 1 and 2, rows 3 and 4. And then row 5 here, it's going to be the kid behind you and behind you in the room. Here's where 2 pi over 3 would be normally, because it's 2/3 of the way to pi. You know, 1/3 of the way is like here, 2/3 is like there. But this is negative, so it would be down here. This is 1/3 of the way. And then you go another notch, and you'd be going another 1/3 of the way. And I like to draw it this way, because then I can go, these are 60, 60, and 60 makes 180. And that tells me, oh yeah, it's got to be one of those 60-degree. Hold on. It's got to be one of those 60-degree angles. So now I've got my triangle here, and that's 60. This must be a right. This is a 30. This must be a 1, 2, square root of 3. Did you remember the negative? All right. Now, what's the sign of this? Well, what sign of what? Well, you reference this angle right here, which is 60, and you use that, even though our actual angle is this. So we're referencing the 60, and we go sine is opposite over hypotenuse, negative root 3 over 2. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, cool. That's a good sign. Here's a kind that drives a lot of people crazy, because they're like, I can't figure out why the opposite and the hypotenuse are so weird on this one. And it has to do with the quadrantals. Now, I gave you 2 sides, even though it looks like I only gave you 1, and I want the angle. So did you know we're supposed to start by making it 1 over 1? And then did you think about like ASTC and then like cosine's positive, so can't be here, can't be here. But wait, as soon as you draw one, I hope you go, wait a minute, I can't have adjacent and a hypotenuse be the same thing? Like, the hypotenuse has to be longer. So you must be at a quadrantal. You must be either here, or here, or here, or here. And that totally changes the problem into, instead of cosine being adjacent over hypotenuse, isn't it also x over r? Remember that deal? So then in this case, they'd all have so all be kind of in a circle, right? So the radius would be 1 on all of them. So then it really just comes down to, which of these 4 spots are you at? Talk to your partner, try to figure out what the answer is. What is the answer? 1 comma 0, 0 comma 1, negative 1 comma 0, or negative, or 0 comma negative 1. Which one has the x is 1? There's only one of them. It's that one. And therefore, what's wrong with this answer? Kid next to you says 2 pi. Because the directions will always say this. Notice that subtle little lack of an equal sign there. They're saying, don't say 2 pi, you should say, what's the angle here? Right here, this is the angle. It's at 0. Raise your hand if you had 0. Not many people. Do you get why that's at 0? 0 degrees. If it would have been here, it would have been at 90 degrees, or pi over 2. If it would have been here, it would have been 180 degrees. If it would have been there, it would have been 270 degrees, or 3 pi over 2. Let's do another one like that. Tangent of theta is 0. Now, right away, you should know, wait a minute, you can't have a triangle with a side of 0. So there's not a triangle. It must be one of the quadrantals. I'll pause for a second, work with the kid next to you, see if you can figure this one out. I've given you the sides, even though the sides are weird, and I want the angle, so I'm asking you, which of these 4 quadrantals is it? All right, here's how you should think this through. Well, clearly if there's a 0 here, you can't draw a triangle. No sense in even trying to draw a triangle anywhere. Then you know it's one of these spots. And tangent is y over x. You want a spot where y is 0 and x is 1. Is that a spot where y is 0 and x is 1? Yep. So the answer is 0 again. 0 is the angle. All right, next part is where I say cosecant of the angle is 2. This is the part where you're going to have to do some flipping, and you have to know the sister function. And at the end, I want to know, what is the angle here? So step 1 is you rewrite it and you refuse peacefully to do cosecant. And instead, you'll do something else. Let's see. You know, row 1, person 3. Caitlin, do you know which function we should switch to?
Sine.
All right, sine. And this is tricky, but I have a Kaylin and a Caitlin. So you guys are going to have to be like, listen close to who I'm trying to talk to. This time it'll be Caitlin. Can you tell me sine of theta equals what? 1 over 2. Good. Now, I bet a lot of people realize they're supposed to give me an angle, but I think there's going to be less people that realize they're supposed to give me 2 angles, because there's 2 places where you could draw this. What are the 2 places? Quadrant A, S, T, C, which is really quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. Row 2, last person, Lux. What are the 2 quadrants that could work here?
1 and 2.
You are correct, because those are both places where sine is positive. And then, pro tip, you really only need to label one of them. So I would always do the one that's closest to the first quadrant, and I'd just do that one. Sine is opposite, hypotenuse, square root of 3. I know this one, it's across from the 1, it's a 30. But Mr. Server always seems to be obsessed with radians, so I'll say pi over 6, and you are right. Who had pi over 6 before I even said it. Sweet. Then there's another answer, though. Thoughts?
I was just going to ask how you know which way to put the triangles in this circle.
Okay, so always go from the center out, because it has to be a radius going there. And then I think it'll usually work for you to like know where to go from there. But if you start at the center and you go out, then I always say drop to the x-axis. Boom. So even if I was doing a triangle down here, I would start at the center and go out, and then I would drop to the x-axis. That's how you make the triangles. All right, so then this was 30, aka 1 pi over 6. That's a whole bunch of pi over 6s. If you put a 30 here, you might realize it's a lot of pi over 6s because there's a lot of 30s in there. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, or 5 pi over 6. Those are the two answers for that one. Pi over 6 or 5 pi over 6. Did anybody have both answers before I gave them? Okay. Now, that's tough, and that's why I'm practicing it with you. But now, you have 6 questions, and you have a partner. And I'm going to have you slide next to them. I think you know which ways to slide. If you don't, then I will help the people in this row, the person behind, get up and slide over. You try to find it. You stand up, and I'll slide your desk over. Go. I'm going to have you get up. Slide your desk over here. Okay, so we're going to take this quiz, and then those are the missing a lesson today. You guys are going to grade this, take it and grade it on your own. It's a little bit less high quality because you have to do this alone. I really love the conversations that the partners have. But then this is a great prep for the actual test tomorrow. You'll hand it in to me on paper tomorrow. Why not today? We'll be done and graded today, but I want you to take it home to study. So you'll hand this in to me tomorrow. That's all I got for you for the review. The actual homework is not this. You'll finish this in class. The homework is a practice test, which you should do as much of as you need to. Some of you that just bomb this thing, you should do the whole thing and double check it with the key. Some of you that rock this thing, you should still do some practice, but maybe you don't need to do as much. So what I'm handing you is not the homework. The homework is in Schoology, separate worksheet and key. That's all I got for you for today.